Right, James, as we said in the first part, you now work for the Racing Post, but you came through the BHA Graduate Program. For those of us, and me included, really, that don't really understand what that is, can you tell us a bit about the benefits of it and what it is?
Yeah, so it's for sort of people who have left university, or it was at the time. I think it's what well, the division of who can actually access the course has changed a little bit, but it's for people who want to work in racing that perhaps have come in have gone to university and studied different things, you know, whether it be marketing or courses that you wouldn't really associate with racing. It then gives them an opportunity to learn a bit more about the sport. So you get 2 weeks in Newmarket, which is all paid for very kindly, where you have guest speakers in from all different sectors, from breeding, from media, from, you know, sort of the BHA, different departments of what they do. Learn really sort of about how the sport operates in all the different places that come in and make the sport what it is, you know, betting included, you know, they sort of outside sort of departments, I suppose, that influence the sport. And then you go off and do a 6 week placement with different companies that have links with racing, and mine thankfully was the Racing Post, and they've not kicked me out yet. So
So did you go into the programme with the intention to work for the Racing Post, or did you go in with an open mind and then you gravitated towards that?
I was desperate to work for the Racing Post. It was the only one I put down because I thought you get 3 options of where we'd want to go. I put the Racing Post as number 1 down because I thought if I put it as number 1, they'll think I'm a bit difficult and they won't try and palm me off somewhere else. So I put myself number 1, and my aggressive tactic might have paid off. So yeah.
You focused on what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously you get a lot of experience in the horse racing industry as you're going through, but is really the main benefit of it a leg up into the industry through all that experience?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the other thing that's quite important is there were a mix of people on the course. There are people who had a lot of time and a lot of experience in working in yards and stables. There's people who'd worked in stables and such, and they'd done that all their lives. So they didn't quite understand about, okay, well, what is life like for a bookmaker, and what is the integrity of checking out sort of gambles and understanding, you know, when the price suddenly drifts and the horse is then beaten, why that is a red flag, you know. And at the same time, all that sort of intensive sort of why breeding happens and how it sort of happens, and to be honest, sort of knowing literally how it's done, that's something that I was never exposed to. So linking those two together and really sort of building up people's knowledge is one. But yes, of course, it's given those opportunities, which unfortunately they're quite hard to come by sometimes.
Okay, now you're involved with the HWPA, the Horse Writers and Photographers Association. Now a lot of people probably just associate that with a really good do in London the first Monday of December every year. But tell us a bit about them and what your role is there.
Yeah, so I joined the committee last year, I think it was, 2021. And so we basically are an organisation and a committee that are looking to give the interests of the horse racing media, really. So whether that be with racecourses, with looking after sort of photographers and the broadcasters and the writers, you know, giving them the best sort of working opportunities on the racecourse and in racing in general. So yeah, the committee is quite a new committee. There's quite a few of us coming in. We've obviously got the awards, which takes a lot of our attention, and it's, as you say, it's a brilliant do. So thank you for plugging that. So yeah, and other than that, you know, we want to build, I suppose, a bit more of a community and really build up the fact that we're sort of all in this together, and I think that's what a few of us younger ones are doing. So yeah, it's busy times. We're busy away trying to sort a few things out, but no, it's a cracking place to be involved with, and I'm enjoying it so far, and hopefully it will sort of develop more to, you know, really put ourselves out there and show exactly what we're doing and the important work we're doing.
Okay, now you mentioned a few of you younger ones, so I was assuming you'd probably be one of the youngest. So what would be the demographic on the committee?
I would say, yeah, there's a few. There's quite a varied. There's quite a few youngsters on there. I'd say two or three of them are under 20. You know, we've got a real good mix. We've got people who work in bloodstock. We've got people who work in sort of broadcasting. We've got photographers. We've got journalists. So we've got a good, very balanced, you know, male, female, and the like. So yeah, it's a good balance, and a lot of different varying degrees of experience, which I think is important as well, because when it's a committee, it's about opinions and such. So yeah, it's a good mix.
Okay, given the sort of changing nature of of the media these days. Do you think there's still a bit of an outdated bias within the horse racing industry towards the print media?
I think it's tough to judge, because I feel that racing sort of desires that sort of type of media still. I still think that people who go racing will want to read an analysis of what that race might play out to be, or what that trainer thinks will happen in the race. You know, there's so much to remember. You know, it's not just how good is the horse, it's the ground, it's the trip, it's the, you know, whether they're good at jumping left or right, whatever. There's so much that goes into it. So I still think there's a desire for that. In terms of the media itself, yeah, I suppose we do put a lot of emphasis on our print media, possibly more than other sports do. But, you know, we want that coverage, and we'll support whoever is going to happily give us the coverage, and as long as they do it in the right way.
Yeah, and we've both sat in empty press rooms during the week, so you see how much attention that print media pays to the, you know, the racing during the week. But they get precedent at the big meetings. You think is it still right to give them that opportunity when the big meetings turn up?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to sort of judge, because the press rooms are designed for, like a lot of racecourses are designed for 1 or 2 days, really. You know, if you think about some of the big racecourses like Aintree is really made that big for 3 days, which is extraordinary when you think about it. And I think in the same sense that press room is massive, and they might not get the same crowd and the same amount of press working in some of their, like, summer jumps fixtures and stuff, or sort of late summer jumps fixtures and the like. So yes, I can understand that point, but look, we're getting coverage. You know, we're giving the sport out there to a new readership. We want to be in those newspapers. We want to be up against them, and I think that we talk about sort of print media. It's online as well. You know, having that chance to put racing next door to the other big sports, I think, is very important. So, no, I'm not sort of with you on that, but I think that we should celebrate all types of media, really.
Well, yeah, this is the next bit, really. I mean, is the HWPA starting to embrace the sort of people that create for TikTok and YouTube and Instagram? I mean, some of those people have got 50, 60,000 sort of followers. Is that something that it's always appeared to me that racing's been a bit sniffy towards the new type of media and the new type of journalism, especially with the sort of younger influencers, if you want to call it that. You beginning to sort of take them on board?
I think that we are happy to take on board anyone that's sort of promoting the sport in a way. I think it needs to be done in a sensible way, as you said. I understand what you said about a lot of empty press rooms. On the big days, press rooms are very busy, and space and being able to have access to certain things is already sort of under pressure. So we need to be careful in terms of what is who can get access for certain ways. So that's something. But me personally, I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, but me personally, I think it's great that we've got influencers and people that are willing to really go out their way to support this sport, because that is how you tap into different crowds. That's how you sort of make it sort of compete with the beast of football, which really is. But then there's also the other sports that still sort of attract quite a big audience. So I'm all for that sort of way. But I think in terms of what the HWPA can do is we've got to sort of strike that balance between not just giving the print media all of free reign, and not just giving the new guys no look in. It's about sort of coming together and balancing out, so that people who want to work on race courses can have the access they need, can have the sort of the desk space they need, which is, I suppose, still quite an important thing, and just sort of understanding that we have to work sort of together, and we're all doing something for a different audience.
Yeah, the social side of the sport. I mean, I think the purist people that would be expecting people to be looking into a magnificent speed figure or a draw bias or something, they are in the minority, aren't they? The most people would come racing as part of a big picture. They may be into it technically, but it's a part of a big day out, like you say, getting dressed up, you know, that sort of thing. Now, there was a lot of big personalities in the press room in years gone by. Do you still see characters emerging, or has the profile of a racing journalist changed in recent years?
I think what we touched on there, the idea of sort of influencers and things like that, I think that is possibly now the new trend of sort of where the attention is going, where the personalities are. If you think about sort of people on YouTube and Twitter and stuff, people have come from nowhere, really. People like the bootlegger, for example, you know, who's just a fan who drinks at home, you know, and suddenly he's come through the roof because of Twitter, because of his antics, because of who he is. You know, I went to the supermarket in Wales the other week, and there's his own beer in the supermarket. So I think the way that these people develop is changed massively. I don't think just because they're a racing journalist it's necessarily going to mean that they're going to turn into a big character. They have to be a big character. And I think as well it's important to differentiate that journalists and broadcasters are very different. So me sitting in the press room and speaking to whoever after the race perhaps doesn't need to be a big personality. My job is to, I suppose, be the glass between what's happened and what's said to bring that to the reader. So yeah, I think the personalities coming through are more online now, and to be honest, they come from everywhere. You just don't know what to expect these days.
And this is something I didn't mention before. One of the things that racing's always enjoyed above other sports is the access to the stars. Now, is that still the same you found as a young reporter, that you can still ring up somebody like Paul Nicholls?
Yeah, I think it's an incredible sport, and I think we will probably touch a bit later on syndicates, whereby you can, for a small fee, have a horse in training with Paul Nicholls and go down and see all the stars working out. I mean, how many people would pay millions of pounds to see Man United training on a Saturday morning? So in terms of media access, we are very, very lucky with what we've got. The trainers that we speak to on the whole are very, very good. They pick up the phone, they're fair, they're honest. I think we're very, very lucky at that in the sport, and we appreciate that as media. It's a big thing for us. On the HWPA it's as well. We always do sort of discuss about the media-friendly people and how good they are for the sport. So we're very, very, very happy to sort of with the way that is. So yeah, it's good. It's very good.